probably speak for everybody here that as weeks go where you want to talk about video games, this one's not high on the list.
It's hard to, right? I think that's the thing.
Yes.
It's like it's hard to like stay focused in that
Right.
way. I've closed Twitter. I'm gonna not look at Twitter while we're recording, and we're gonna go better for
I
it.
took it off my phone yesterday. That didn't stop me from going to twitter.com and Chrome, but I took the app off.
Oh, dude, it's rough.
Yes, it's rough out there. It's been a pretty trying week in this country for sure. Yeah, we along with a lot of other people, made the decision to take Tuesday to let other people speak and be heard. And there's a lot to say. There's a lot to say and a lot to hear.
Do you guys swear on this podcast?
You're keeping loose today.
Quite frequently.
Say what say what you feel.
Oh gosh, what I feel, I fuck so much shit. Right? Like holy, oh man, that's all I want. Oh fucking, why is everything so fucked up? Why is everything? Oh, I think I know why.
Yeah.
Like
there's a lot of reasons why it turns out.
Yeah.
But holy crud. A lot of people going through a lot of bad stuff right now. A lot of people getting out there trying to fix a lot of bad stuff right now. And man, I'm fucking just no top-down leadership coming out of the places you'd want it to come out of. Like, it's coming out of organizations that need it to have it. But man, out of right now, oh boy.
I feel like this has been, for me, a good reminder that long-term solutions can't just come from like electing the politicians you like. And not that I personally have the politicians I like in office throughout the country, but that there will always be other ways. You don't elect the police, for instance, right?
Right.
That is not a thing that I can't go vote out the police chief in New York. I can't even necessarily vote for a mayoral candidate who will put forward, policies that would make my life easier in this city. I could do it to some degree, in the primary process, but by the time it gets down to like the election, it's like, well, here we are. And I think it speaks to the importance of having grassroots movements, mutual aid, local community-driven, neighborhood-driven stuff. And protest. Like, honestly, the pressure, one of the ways in which you can, kind of inflect pressure onto the government is by reminding them that they work for you, and denying authoritarianism when you see it pop up around you. And that has to be a very active process, and it's very scary, but it's also, I think, super necessary right now. So if you are, for me, from speaking as Austin Walker and not as Giant Bomb, if you were out there, protesting on the behalf of Black lives, protesting on the behalf of victims of police violence, I thank you so much for doing that. You have my heart and my support. So good luck. It's going to be an ongoing thing.
This big old creaky system is really starting to show its age, I think. And like if there is any positive to come out of this, hopefully it is a reminder or a reawakening that, and that's been going on for several years. I don't want to be dismissive of the work that's already been done, but just a reawakening to the fact that getting out, hitting the pavement and doing the work out there is a direct way to get stuff done.
And I think echoing what Austin said, I think so I'm in a kind of a smaller town nestled in a bigger area here in New Jersey, but I think it's even important in those community instances to build up from there and I'm lucky that I, because of school, because I have kids in school, I engage with a lot of people and a lot of different people, and it's a very diverse community. I'm very lucky for that. But it's a face-to-face is also there's a lot of fronts on this, and I feel like being able to just talk to people sometimes, it's very hard now when you're getting face-to-face given the other stuff that's going on, but those channels of communication were established before, so I feel very lucky in that sense for this small microcosm of a thing to be able to work through the community. We can organize here, we can get the people we need, we can do the protests we need in our small community that can then we're able to get kids engaged, we're able to get the teenagers engaged and reach out and really, I think, hopefully communicate with the people that matter, whose voices need to matter the most, and people those kids need to hear. And then extrapolate that out larger. That's a much harder problem. But I do feel like a lot of that stuff starts small.
I'm right there with Vinny. I think something that I've seen a lot of people express, and something I felt myself, is like, well, I'm just one person. What can I do? It's easy to feel powerless when acts of military might are like in your point of view, right? Like, it's easy to feel like you have no power, which is not true. There's power in masses, and it starts with like educating yourself, listening. Like it's I like to think of myself as somebody who is fairly clued in to a lot of what's happening, but even I have a ton of things I can be reading, a ton of like, challenge yourself. It's hard, but it needs to be done, and you'll be a better person. You'll be able to express more sympathy to your fellow man. Like, there is just no downside to it other than the brief moments of uncomfortable gut wrenching you're gonna feel in your stomach while it's going on.
And at the same time, while you're challenging yourself, like, if you can't go out and protest, if you're not in a financial place to donate to any causes, challenge your social circles, whether it be your family, your friends. Check the privileges that you yourself have, especially your friends. I know I have a bunch of friends that are they're shitheads a lot of the time. And it's challenging to check your loved ones and their behavior, but that goes a long way once it's done.
It's a thing that I think about a lot. Vinny, you were saying that there are lots of issues, or like, we were talking earlier off mic about how things kind of scaffold up, how it's like, there's one issue. Like, okay, wait a second, that one issue is 2 issues. That 2 issues, 4 issues. There's like, it's like killing a slime in a video game, which just splits and splits and splits. And it's like, you can't. Every normal days of the week, I think a lot of us would say, like, oh yeah, we can do whatever. We can do anything. Like, can we get back to the moon? Yes, of course we can get back to the moon. Could we develop a new technology that does X, Y, Z? Like, yeah, of course we can. We just have to put enough resources in it. I think it's like, pay attention a lot when people start to say, no, this is too big to fix. There's too many issues here to fix it. Our efforts better spent elsewhere. I'm not saying there are not things that take such an insurmountable sort of work that committing to trying to change them all at once is not overwhelming and demoralizing. But if you think about the world as a patient and us as doctors, like, I don't think we're at the point where we have to be like, write it off. At time of death. Like, no, you like put your gloves on, you start working. Figure out what you can treat right now. Figure out what's going to take a longer period of recuperation and a longer period of rehab. Figure out what is surgery. Figure out what is antibiotics. Right? Like, there is not a single solution to it. The single solution will not be that we win an election in a few months. That will help. That will be one part of a much bigger thing. But like, it cannot stop there. It can't stop at we get one person in office who, depending on how you feel, might not even be your chosen candidate to begin with. And what you need is just like an entire, almost a campaign towards justice, a campaign towards making the world better, towards justice not only in this particular moment around racial justice, but the ways in which other things interlock with that. Like, global warming didn't disappear, and global warming is going to hit these communities harder than it hits really affluent communities. Issues around women's rights and sexism did not disappear because in this moment we're grieving for Black lives. And in fact, it turns out Black women suffer a lot more, or face a lot more in other ways than we know that also need to be addressed, right? And so that is it's a big menu, and it can sound like, okay, I'll take everything on the menu, and I get that that's a lot, but one tray at a time, one order at a time. Let's pick something and start working on it, and don't decide to leave the restaurant. There's like 7 metaphors I'm working on here. In this metaphor, you're at a surgeon at a restaurant, and someone.
But they're on scaffolds.
They're on scaffolds, so they also have hard hats on.
There's a slime there.
There's a slime, right? Oh, I'm sorry. We're just talking about the new Yakuza game that's coming out. I think this is a character who could easily be in that game.
Yeah, like relatedly, I think we could say, like, there's no change too small, right? Or too, or too irrelevant or trivial or whatever. I mean, if you're feeling frustrated or pissed off or whatever, like you said, you don't have to confront, the entirety of the Goliath. You can pick your battle, pick your cause, like to do what you can and like channel those feelings into, any change you make is better than none.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.